One of man's greatest inventions has to be the invention of bread.
But what about the wheel?
The wheel's not much good unless you have a product to transport. What bread can be thought of is a super food. It is compact, nutritious, and on a basic level, simple. Without the invention of bread in its many forms, other than pasta, there really isn't a simple way to eat and absorb most of the nutrition in wheat, rye, or barley. We're talking about gruel here, people. I decided to cover two types of bread, yeast and quick breads. Representing the yeast breads will be my recipe for marbled wheat bread, and the quick breads will be represented by cornbread. The foundation of what makes breads work is a protein matrix called gluten. Gluten is what you get when you add water to wheat flour and then add agitation and or time to the mixture. Wheat flour has two proteins that when mixed with water, they combine to form gluten. Gluten is what makes raised breads possible, as it's what holds on to the air rising the bread, and also forms the structure of the final bread. The more of this you have, the firmer and crustier the bread will be. Ever wonder why bread in the store is so soft and fluffy? Well, it's made mostly of low-protein flour, so it has the minimal amount of gluten in it, making it nice and soft. The best breads are made with bread flour, which is very high in protein, which makes for a strong and powerful gluten matrix. For making good bread, this is what you want. When selecting a bread flour, look for one that says it's best for bread machines, as it will be the highest in protein. This is to compensate for the fact that the bread machine doesn't actually make very good bread. One more thing to look for is to make sure that the bread flour you're getting is unbleached, as that will make for the best bread. Bleached flour sets much faster when cooked, so will not rise as much in the oven. In the bread I will be making, we'll be using both white bread flour and whole wheat bread flour.
What is it about yeast breads that smells so good? Is it the yeast? No, it's not the yeast. Because the yeast, these little living critters, they die in the oven before the bread's half baked. And that's long before the delicious scent begins. So is it the wheat itself in the bread that you're smelling? No, because cornbread has a delicious scent of its own. And it is similar to the delicious smell. I believe the smell is the smell of the browning carbohydrates and the proteins and the sugars that's in and on the bread. The better the bread is, the better it will smell. You're smelling the toasting of the delicious golden brown crust on the outside of fresh baked bread. This is probably why toast, that we love so much, smells similar.
Making yeast bread is a lot of work. I am not going to lie about this. There is a reason that there is an entire fairy tale that centers around this. If none of you are familiar with it, I will now tell you the story of the Little Red Hen. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen. She found one day a bag of wheat seeds. She went to some of her friends. "Who will help me plant the wheat?" "Not I," said the dog. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the cow. "Not I," said the horse. "Then I will do it myself," said the little red hen, and so she did. Once the wheat had grown, it was time to harvest it. Once again, the little red hen went to her friends and asked if they'd like to help her harvest the wheat. "Who will help me harvest the wheat?" "Not I," said the dog. "Not I," said the cat.
Not I, said the cow. Not I, said the horse. Then I will do it myself, said the little red hen, and so she did. Now that the wheat had been harvested, she now needed to have the wheat made into flour, so now it was time to take it to the mill. Once again, she asked her friends to help. Who will help me take the wheat to the mill? Not I, said the dog. Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the cow. Not I, said the horse. Then I will do it myself, said the little red hen, and so she did. Well, once the wheat had been turned into flour at the mill, it's finally time to make some bread. Once again, she asked her friends for help. Who will help me make some bread? No. Not I, said the dog. Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the cow. And not I, said the horse. Then I will do it myself, said the little red hen, and so she did. It wasn't too long when the smell of baking bread filled the neighborhood, and everyone's mouths were watering from the delicious aroma of the bread. Now the little red hen asked, who will help me eat the bread? I will, said the dog. I will, said the cat. I will, said the cow. I will, said the horse. No. I will do it myself, said the little red hen, and so she did.
On making the bread. The first step is to get 2 large bowls and in them pour 2 cups of warm water. And by warm I mean 120 degrees Fahrenheit and no warmer. What comes out of the hot water tap at your home should be close enough. But before starting, make sure that that is the case. Yeast dies at 130 degrees, so make sure or bread will not be what you'll end up getting. That out of the way, melt 4 tablespoons of butter and pour half into each bowl. Now measure out half a cup of flour and stir it into each bowl. Stir it in completely. Then add a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and stir well. I'm going to mix into this 1 tablespoon of honey. As well. Once you have everything well mixed, then add in your steel cut oats, your cornmeal, your cracked wheat, your oatmeal, and last of all, and most importantly, your yeast. Stir well, and then let this sit aside for about an hour. You're going to want to let this rest as it grows and ferments and makes lots of yummy, delicious flavor. Take 16 ounces of flour by weight and stir this into the slurry until well combined. You may need more or less flour at this point. This is all dependent on the conditions of the day. If it's more humid, you may actually require less flour. If it is a dry day, you may need to add more flour to finish out the dough at this point. Do the same thing with your other bowl, and this way you'll be using white flour instead of the whole wheat. Stir these together. This may take some time. Once you have the flour and the water in your slurry all combined, you are ready to do the work of kneading the bread. You do need to knead. On a firm surface, spread some flour out, and then the dough on top of the flour, and then some more flour on top of your dough. Take your dough, and flour on top of the dough. Take your dough and fold it over slowly, as you see being done here. Do this until the dough is firm and smooth. You know you are getting close when the dough stops feeling sticky. I will not lie to you, this is going to take some time, up to half an hour at least. Once this is done, put in about 1 tablespoon of oil into the bowls and toss the dough in the bowls to coat. Once this is done, put about 1 tablespoon of oil into your bowl and toss the dough in the bowl to coat. Cover the bowls with a cloth and let this sit until the dough doubles in size. I'm not going to be able to tell you how long this will be. You just have to learn how to wait. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees. You want to do this while the bread is rising. While the bread rises, prep your pans to cook the bread in. Grease the pans thoroughly, then sprinkle onto the bottom of the pans some cornmeal. What you're doing is ensuring that when you're done with the bread, it will just drop right out of the pan so you can put it out to cool immediately.